Hey YouTube, it's Thursday the 17th of May 2018 and this is a milestone today, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. First of all, this red oak was the first tree I cut down to put to the mill. So it started here and then I went right to its neighbor, cut that red oak down. And after I bucked them, I took them to the next step. So then the next step was to bring the logs over on my log pile. Now what you don't know, and I don't think I mentioned in any of my videos, was that last year we had to be done logging. All of the logs that you seen me cut this past year, all of that had to be done, including these, and finished logging by April 27th. And technically we were done by then. We just had logs that we didn't bring in yet. But I brought all the logs in, and after I brought the logs from there, you know that in June then, by the end of May I was bringing logs in. By June I had worked on the concrete pad and everything and got the wood miser and set the LT15 up so that I could saw those logs into lumber. So then the lumber came off the mill, and before I started cutting lumber I built the kiln, or I was building the kiln with the first lumber I took off. Poured the concrete, put the pad in for the LT15, put the LT15 up, and then while I was doing the first cutting, I used that pine to build this greenhouse, or not greenhouse, kiln. I'm looking, there's a date there, 7/13, so that's when Carmine, my grandson, and I finished that. So that was about 3 weeks from now. This would have been finished last year's time. Okay, so cut it up into boards, put the boards into here to dry. And believe me, they are dry. They're down to around 7%, and I don't want them to go much more than that, because no matter what I do, after 7%, it's going to raise, because everything around here is higher than that, including inside my house. So we put the boards over there. You know that I planed all that red oak that's in my greenhouse over here. And I'm going to show that. I know most of you guys who watch my channel know all this stuff, but there'll be a couple little things that you didn't see and why I'm so happy with today. So between having all this lumber stockpiled here, this is mostly softwood. There's maple down at the end over there. Then the lumber went from that tree, which by the way is right behind the greenhouse here. So in other words, the stump, let me just zoom in, the stump to that red oak is right there, those two stumps. Okay, so now, freaking bugs out here today. So now, we milled it, we dried it, or I should say we sawed it, dried it, and then milled it to a flat board, which is, you know, what you have here. And then between doing all that work, which took almost a whole year, and this is what I'm after, what it takes to dedicate yourself to do a project that takes a whole year. So we went to that, to milling the oak, and then today came the proof, and I'll show you what it is, because I think it's really, really neat. So then, I'm getting tired and it's hot out. I gotta clean this garage door. Okay, so, hi Bullseye. So I put the planer together, and I put the cutters on it for colonial casing, because the house that I'm building, I want all colonial molding in it. So put that on there, got the cutter set up, got the gauge set up, got this MDF on there, so I had a flat surface and nothing, not that I would hit the metal plate for the table when I used the cutters. And look at this. This is my first piece. Now it's not right yet because it's actually too thick, but the point is this is what I was chasing. I've been chasing it for a year, and it's beautiful. I'm going to hang this up in my garage somewhere, because after 11 months of work, and when I rebuilt my truck frame, it took me from May of 1 year to October of the same year, and I was under pressure to get the truck done because of snow plowing. But this wood, to be able to come to this, and this is what it's all about, is the molding. That's all it's about. It took me from June 7th, I think I put the unboxing video up for the Wood-Mizer LT15, and today, May 17th, I'm showing you the finished product. Granted, it's only 2 foot long, but that doesn't matter. It was a trial run. First piece of molding I cut. Needs some trimming and some fine tuning, but I'll definitely get it. So that's what it's been all about. So it took 11 months to get to this point. And there were a lot of hard times there, especially when we were trying to get the logs out of the woods, and we only had until the 27th of April last year to do it, you know, to get them to the roadside. So we were lucky, and not only that, but we cut 15 cords of firewood as well during that period. Managed to cut all that, had a buku firewood, which I still need to restack. The tractor broke down twice. I needed to fix the radiator and a hydraulic hose, which I did during that time. We had so much rain it wasn't even funny. The mud was horrible. That's why I put these chips down. I was swamped with all kinds of wood shavings and chips and flitches and God knows what, trying to get to the point where I could get this finished. Carmine had a log dropped on his foot and broke his toe. It's been one heck of 11 months. But throughout all of that time that you have stuck with me, some of you in the YouTube videos, you've realized that this is what I was after. This is the end. Now, granted, there's a lot more work to do because I need to cut, oh my God, I don't know how many feet of it. This is just casing. I need to cut base molding and I need to cut crown molding. So there's quite a few board feet of molding gonna come up yet, but the point is I have the wood now, I have the planer that can make it, and all I gotta do is make it and start nailing it up, and this is what I'm after. It really feels good to have stuck with a project. And let me just tell you something for you young guys and maybe some old guys alike. I remember when I built my first house. I was 19 years old. And I got to tell you, I thought I would never get done with that thing. I think it took me 9 months by myself to build the house. 9 months. I poured the concrete for the footing. I dug the footing, poured the concrete for the footing myself. This is on my own home, my first house of many. But anyway, my first house, I did all that, laid block for the first 8-foot walls, and then built the house on top of that 8 foot. And we lived in that for a while, and then I built another brand new house, moved into that. And I've been fortunate. Built a couple different businesses and stuff since then, and been lucky. But I got to tell you, for you young guys, what I'm getting at is, it's easy to say I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but unless you're willing to put the time into it like I just did. I mean, I'm 64 now. I was 63 when I started this. I'm 64 now, but when I started this project, it was a whole 11 months, which sounds like a lot, but believe me, in time it just goes by so quickly. But the point is that to start a project and then finish it and hold the finished product in your hand and be contented with it, this is what life is about. It's what life was meant to be. We've been given some really fantastic gifts, which, you know, our minds themselves, our abilities to do things, to be able to accomplish goals. It doesn't, and wood, making wood into molding is, not what I consider a major accomplishment. However, 11 months worth of work to get to that point, that's a lot of work for one little piece of wood. But that's nonetheless, that's what I was after. But like when I did my truck and all the houses I built and the children I've raised and you know the people I've paid and everything, and and not just me, all of you are out there probably did the same things. When you look back on your life and realize just how much effort you've put out, you know, it's amazing. And I know people who have done more than me, that's for certain. So I think that instead of picking on people, and you know, I never really talk of politics. I'm not going to talk politics. I'm going to talk about a person. You may not like Donald Trump, and you can like anybody you want to. I know Donald Trump personally. I met Donald Trump in East Orange, New Jersey when I was working on a high-rise building for him. And I found the man to be everything he said he is, and not what other people say. He pays on time. He means what he says, and he does what he says he's going to do. And he did with me. I have no complaints about the guy. So you can take it anywhere you want to. You know, that doesn't mean anything except to me. But that's how I feel. And to be able to take all this stuff and put this all together and take you with me, I think is a real treat, not just for myself, but for you guys who have watched it. You've been able to see somebody and what it takes, and I've tried to express that in my videos. I didn't want to just say, you know, here's a picture of this, put it on fast forward. That fast forward is okay, but it's not my thing. I don't like doing that. I get a headache watching fast forward videos. I like slow and easy, seeing what's happening. But anyway, I just thought you'd be interested in this. For those of you who have been with me from the start, you know, this is what I was after. And I think it's going to look quite nice around the doors and windows up there. Beats this square stuff, that's for certain, if this is what you like. So, I'm contented with it. I'm happy. I finally reached a milestone, which is to actually produce something that can be used. Now this is a piece of hickory. This isn't even red oak. I had a piece of 1-inch hickory laying in there, and I started with 1-inch stock. Now I can get away with 3/4 with these molding knives. So the best thing to do now is to take 3/4-inch boards, cut them to 2.5 inches wide, and put them through the planer, and I can zip out molding there. Probably takes 3 passes, but I'll put it all through in one pass. Maybe I'll cut 50 at a time. Put them all through at one pass, then adjust the head, go through another, and then a final pass. And I should be able to use the molding, you know, stain it and then nail it up. But I do got to get a lot of it together and a lot of it done. So, and this is all part of it in the kiln. That all has to get done before I can, you know, really start to cut a lot of molding. And I will. I'm just glad some of the things that worked out really good that would not have worked out with a round sawmill like I had, a circular sawmill. The one thing is that this wood miser can cut within 1/8 of an inch. The round sawmill, it could, but not really well. You know, and to plane right out of that, you had to have a heavy duty planer, not like what I have here. This works only because the wood miser works so well. Okay, that's why you can get away with this smaller planer that I have sitting here. So the fact that the wood miser was able to cut within 1/8 of an inch, that the planer could handle stuff up to 1/8 of an inch, which is why I don't understand what the complaints are, that I was able to dry all of the lumber at one time that I would need for the house. And that's something you need to understand. I didn't do none of this stuff haphazard. I didn't build that kiln according to someone's idea of size. Design, yes, I borrowed the design from the University of, what is it, Virginia, I think, Virginia Tech. But I used their design, but the size is my own. The calculations for air infiltration are my own, because I had wrote a software program for heating houses that I used to figure out what the infiltration would be on this thing. And that worked pretty good, and I'm satisfied with what has happened there. So with all of that and some help from a couple friends and some help from the grandkids and my wife sticking by me, I was able to get to this point. So I feel good about this, and you know, I'm really happy to have this first piece in my hand. So it's nice. So whatever you guys are doing, whatever endeavors you are, whether it's building houses, building bridges, building or just cutting your grass. Enjoy your accomplishments because you never know when they're going to come to an end. But I'm enjoying the heck out of this, and you know, a couple people had asked me they'd like to see the finished product. This is it. Now, you know, once I nail it up, and like I say, this needs a little tweaking. You can see there's a little lip here. This should actually only be 1/2 inch thick. It's about 5/8 right now. So I need to tweak the size of the board that I put into the planer. Once I do that, or into the molding cutter. Once I do that, I'll be in good shape. But that's only minor adjustments. So guys, I want to thank you again for the long haul that you stuck with me there, and I surely have a lot of videos to go yet. You know, but it was nice. I enjoyed answering all the questions. You know, nobody likes to be talked down to, so I got to tell you, there's been a lot of people that I just muted them so I don't have to listen to them, because I do hear people, and when you're like me and you listen to what's being said, some of it can get to you when it's not really good and when they don't know what they're talking about. That's what really gets me, because how do you explain to somebody you don't have to do it this way, you can do it this way and come up with the same thing, when they've only ever done it one way their whole life? It's hard to explain that to people. But nonetheless, I've learned in my life that there's always somebody with a better idea. That's what makes America as great as it is. So, guys, have a good one. It's almost quitting time for me today. We got, let's see what we got there. We got 110 in the kiln. Moisture content's around 32%, which is perfect for drying, as if I need that. And then the temperature over there, I don't know if you can see that, it says 84. I think it's 84, 82 or 84. So we've done a lot of stuff in the past year, made a lot of headway, did not make a whole lot of mess. That's what I like about cleaning up after myself. Guys, have a good one. Bye.